All right, guys. So the thing is, when you start off fishing, I mean, you see so many great lures. You see so many, great things that people are talking about that catch fish, and you see a lot of bass fishermen walking down Bass Pro Shops or Walmart, and you see all these lures. Man, it's so many jerk baits and just so many cool things to use. Where do you start? As a new person, where do you begin, and what are some simple lures to use to hook up with these bass early on in your fishing career? Join me today to break down some of these lures and to give you some good fishing tips on what is good to use. Back to the channel. I'm your boy, the Nature Boy here. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode geared for beginners. Then we're talking about what's the best lures to go. As you can tell behind me, there are so many different lures to choose from in the bass game. My light is off a little bit, but there's jerk baits, lipless crankbaits, frogs, so many different lures. I mean, you're talking plastics, so many different plastics, so many things to do. Where do you start from as a beginner? When you walk down a Bass Pro Shop, Walmart, so many different lures, so many different selections, so many things to choose from. And you've seen a lot of these YouTuber guys using different type of lures. A lot of popular lures, of course. I talked about like any type of worm style Texas rig, whether it be drop shot, wacky worm, Carolina rig. I don't see use them. I've used it before, but you see a lot of jerk bait stuff. And so I'm going to go through just a couple easy lures to be able to use and tap into and learn how to catch those bass early on. Of course, like I talked about in the past video, one of the easiest lures to catching on is just a simple worm. There are different variations of how to hook up the worm. One of my favorites is the wacky worm, and also my number one go-to is the Texas rig. So I did a video on that Texas rig a couple weeks ago. But I mean, just a simple worm, man, catches a lot of fish. If you just want to go out and just catch fish, throwing on a Texas rig or wacky style. Wacky style is just very, very simple. You can buy the little black rubber bands to keep it in place. Some people hook it straight through, but they use it like a wacky style, like a really small hook, extremely small hook. Where is my? Okay, I got it over here. I do get some wacky style hooks. Let me see. It look about like crappie, a little bit like crappie lure, like a crappie hook, something like this big. And wacky style is very, very simple. I mean, if you don't have the small rubber bands, you can buy those at like Walmart, Target, But I mean, you just simply put it in the middle of that fish, and that's your wacky setup. And it works very well visually for the fish, because as it's floating down, it's just kind of moving that motion. And most people just bounce it, like that. Keep it on of course, keeping it at the bottom and just bouncing that lure, on the bottom. But very, very simple lure to use, wacky style. Drop shot, people use drop shot. I've used that, but I find it more simple. I've caught more fish using like a wacky style. A lot of big fish, fish can't resist the wacky style. Texas rig, I caught more fish throughout my fishing career over close to about 20 years on Texas rig. I've used wacky, but majority of the time when I fish, I use like Texas rig style. Like in my other video, I use a 1/0 hook. Do I have a small? I think I have a small. Let's see if I have a 1/0. Okay, that's too big to use as an example. I think this is this is like a 1/0 hook. You know, I like using these a lot better than the original Texas rig style. Where is my Texas rig? Here we go. If I can get it. It's a Texas rig style, you know. I actually used it, you know, back when I first started because I didn't know all the type of hooks, but a 1/0 hook, very, very good. I like it. So, of course, very, very simple lure. I would say I would start there as a new beginner, you know, just to learn the ropes and, you know, just to get the feel of the fish and them hitting your line and hitting your bait, your lure. It's very simple to catch fish on. And the movement is very, very simple. You watch my video, but using grub baits. This is a Rage King. Rage King, very cool. They make all different type of lures, from soft plastic, hard plastic, dirt baits. They're kind of like the top tier. Like I use a lot of their Colorado blades. They're my favorite to use as far as a brand kind. But Strike King does very, very well. I use their brand a lot. And so just a simple, wow, that is strong scent. That's still on there. But a grub, you know, different type of grubs, they catch fish, man. Throwing an open eye hook, you can do a weighted, like you can set up basically like a Texas rig style. You know, I call it ground and pound lures. You basically just bounce it off the bottom, man. Usually I kind of pull this apart, you know, give it some spice to it. Just bounce off the bottom. So very, very simple lure. It's going to catch you some fish, most definitely. And so the next is, of course, swim baits. Very, very simple lures, man. Very, very simple. Just basic lures. Of course, Strike King, one of my favorite brands to use. Strike King, they do very well. So I tend to go for more realistic colors. You can do other things. This reminds me more of like a small bass, or even like a small baby striper. But I like to use, like when I'm going to swim, I like to use something with some wiggle in the back, some shake in the back. When this thing is moving, the tail is just flat. And I mean, you can use these in different ways. I do have, if I can find it. There are things you can use like an underspin with it, or you can just set it up weighted. If I have, I think I have, or do I, or don't I? No, I don't got one on me. But there are ways you can modify, like, I think I do that. Well, they do have it where you can, I even forget the name of it, but you can set it up. I forget that. Okay, I do have something. I think I do have it. I find these are better to use, like when I've used them. Very, very simple. But this is a small variation. Of course, there are big variations of it. Of course. Now, You can get them in different sizes. They actually have them where you can just basically drill it in, just drill it in the front of it. But I typically use this, but I don't use this color because I'm all out. But I use it basically of the normal color. I'll use like just a normal color. You know, I wouldn't go into yellow or red, of course, like this. But you can find these, you know, Bass Pro Shops. They do have them at Walmart where you can get a variation of sizes. And I find that, you know, a lot simpler to use. Of course, you can get the one with the weight in the front. You can buy those. But swim baits are typically very, very simple. You basically throw it out. How I do it, I'll probably have it about that much. Probably about right there is pretty good. Like if I'm swimming it back, I kind of leave it at that level when I'm just swimming it back. Usually it's like a medium, like if it's a medium. It all depends on where you're at. Now if you're at a small pond or lake or something, you can just do a medium. Now if you're out like Lake Norman, you kind of speed up a little bit. Me, I have my own little technique. So when I throw it out, when I'm retrieving it, I'll kind of do it like a medium from a lake. If I'm in like a small pond or lake, and I'm just doing like a medium, and I do it like a jerk, and I'm reeling, I do like a jerk, and I'll reel, do a jerk, reel, jerk, and that tends to catch fish for me. Like I said, you know, it all comes with experience and just time out there. But very, very good lure to use. Now, there are sometimes, let's see if I see it. Now, there are sometimes when I'm at certain places that I know that places where I know where fish are aggressive, you know, when it comes to hitting lures and different things like that. Like I'll use something like this, not this particular color, but I don't have my color. Okay, here we go. Look. But I'll use like a bluish color. I don't have the bluish color. I'll use, here we go. Now if I'm on a trailer, if I'm throwing a trailer, this Colorado blade, if I'm throwing a trailer or something like that, I'll put on one of these. You can easily, you know, take one of these off, or you just put the whole one on. Usually I take a piece off of it, and I'll just put a tail on it, a little bit of tail on it, and I'll use that. And you basically, like these, you basically just swim these in and retrieve these in like you do a regular worm, you know, retrieve, no little action or thing like that. But there are actions you can do with it, but today just keep it simple. Of course, again, swim bait, Strike King has it. I prefer those, but Strike King very, very good with these. And so, knock another one down. We are rolling. And this brand is called Rage Swims. I like these because the little paddle tail in the back. I really like these. And also Yamamoto. They make very, very good lures. As far as soft plastics, I don't know much about the hard stuff, but I like using their worms. And this is one of their swim baits. It's one of their swim baits. Pretty neat. Looks like a small brim color. Very, very cool lure there. And so moving right along, something else is very, very simple that I showed before to use. And of course, I'm gonna pull this out. Where is the? I did have the. All right. I'll just use this. Now you can do it without the trailer, and I prefer like this. The smaller blades are good for clearer water, but you know, if it's really dingy, the bigger blades are good for that. And do I have the bigger blade? I have a small blade. Oh, okay. I don't have any big blades. I usually get the small blades anyway. But of course, like this, I would suggest using Strike King, invest in a Strike King. And this is like a average size. So when I'm throwing clear water, I throw something like this. And you can throw a Digiwater too, but the small blades are more for lower vibration. The bigger, of course, bigger vibrations. And this is Colorado blade. One of my other favorite lures to use. I've caught so many fish on these, man. I caught my first, I believe it was like a spotted bass. I think it was like 5 pounds. I caught it on a Colorado blade, man. So I just basically put it through, and you throw it out and you swim it, or you can do it without that. You see a lot of fishermen, they use this just to kind of scan the waters if they're just trying to break a place down and just trying to get some hits, trying to determine, you know, what these fish are hitting, if they're aggressive. You know, I tend to say aggressive fish hit it, or bigger fish like to chase things like this. The blades just irritates them, and also it kind of resembles the sound of a fish moving by. Trailers, you know, I've caught a lot of my big fish on when I'm using a trailer. And so very good to use, very simple. Now another lure that's very simple to use. I had it in my hand. Now, buzzbait, very good. I would say if you're doing a small pond or lake, I would say using something small like this, you know, a small presentation. And also there are times I'll put a trailer on the back. Of course, I love using the trailers. The action with the trailer on the back is phenomenal, man. I mean, the kind of action you get, and the fish, you know, they're gonna strike, hit, do something. I mean, the trailers on the back is pretty cool. There are people that use other stuff, but I like using, you know, a smaller presentation when I'm out, you know, at a small place, or places I know they don't really hit giant, like stuff like this. I mean, you got to be out like Lake Norman and stuff like that. You know, bigger areas that hit, you know, buzz baits like this. I prefer dark colors. I've had a lot of luck with dark color and the presentation. Darker colors, I mean, they go well. And so I'm not gonna go too long, so that's one of them. And also the last one. Now, lizards. It all depends on where you're at. Because of the action, man, because you get a lot of action from it, the fish like to hit it. I usually, now when I'm retrieving these, I'll use like a, where is it? If I can find it. I use something like this, like a weighted, like a little weight on it, something that's small but not this color. It's a basic color. But I use this, and when I'm retrieving it, I'm barely letting this thing hit the water. I'm automatically retrieving it, keeping it at top level, at that top level where it's like a lizard just on top of the water. I'll do that. I've caught a lot of fish like that. I mean, they just wham it. And the color, I used to throw this color, or the this is my main color. I forget the orange with the spots, but this color is pretty well when I'm throwing the lizard. You know, usually they kind of nip at the tail, but bigger fish just take it and just attack it, man. And so just to leave y'all with something different, man. You don't see a lot of people throwing lizards. You know, I like throwing them. They've caught me some nice fish. And so leave you with the lizard today. It's the Lizard Zoom green, of course, green pumpkin, Lizard Zoom green pumpkin. You can buy these at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops. And so leave y'all with the lizard. Until next time, remember guys, keep it popping.